Hey, I want to talk about something that means a lot to me, something that I'm actually quite passionate about, which I guess everything I talk about here is something I'm quite passionate about. This is something that goes pretty deep. I want to talk about shadow work, and perhaps not in the traditional sense, perhaps not in a way that you may have been familiar with it, but a way that feels very, very vibrant, very alive for me currently, especially, or a way that's been catalyzed that I've always felt within me, but it's recently really come to the forefront, really come to life. So I heard recently it's like a quote within a quote within a quote. and it goes like this. It's a wise sage once said that the only question really worth asking is, what are you unwilling to feel? Not what are you afraid to feel, not what do you not like to feel. What are you unwilling to feel? Because that question is a key that unlocks so many different things that are actually in the way of what each of us wants in our life. And all right, so let's think about the law of attraction for a minute. I'm sure everybody watching this has heard of it. You've used it, you've read books, you've watched videos, you probably watched The Secret, all of these things that have to do with the law of attraction, because the premise is that we human beings are co-creators. We are connected with all that is, with the universe. We are individuated, autonomous selves of all that is, of the divine. And as such, we have creative abilities. This has been something that's been known for millennia. There was a huge surgence of this at the turn of the previous century with a return to Hermeticism and a westernized version of Eastern esotericism. The Theosophical Society, Madame Blavatsky, and many others brought this ancient Eastern esoteric wisdom to the forefront, to the Western world, and popularized it. It was known as the New Thought movement. And you can still find New Thought groups, everything on all different levels, from right up there in the open mainstream to that which is a little more secretive or even occult. And when I say occult, I know that brings up all kinds of images, but occult simply means that which is hidden. So the far side of the moon, being dark, being something we don't see, don't have access to, is actually occult. When we have blood that comes out of our body, stool tissue is sometimes checked to see, is there occult blood? That doesn't mean bad, evil blood. There's no such thing. It simply means hidden, which would indicate that there's something deeper within the body system that needs investigating. So occult in the sense of that which is hidden, brought to light. So in that sense, the shadow realm, this realm that I want to explore today, at least cursorily, is actually occult. And it's not bad, evil, dangerous, or wrong, or anything else that you might initially have a knee-jerk reaction to. It's simply that which is hidden. So within us, within the human being, the psychology movement that also had a resurgence during the 1800s and into the 20th century, this realm of exploring the psyche. Psyche is the soul. So psychology, psychiatry, all of that has the word psyche within it. And it's simply the part of us that is non-tangible. Our emotions, our intellect, everything that's internal within us, that's the realm of the psyche. So within our being, we have the conscious mind. And I'm pointing to the head only because, well, that's where the brain is, and that's what's mostly associated with conscious awareness. So we have this conscious awareness, and it's from this conscious realm that we most often choose our visualizations and our affirmations and our mantras and those conscious, intentional things that we do and say and think and feel and believe in order to bring about whatever it is that we want to manifest. And we are intended to manifest. We have desires for a reason. They are meant to be the seeds of manifestation. So this is part of the whole human process, and it's why we're here. It's a wonderful thing. Okay, getting ahead of myself or sideways from myself or something. I get really excited on this topic. I love this topic. All right, so we have the conscious mind that says, I want, let's just go with money. I want $1 million, okay? And we work ourselves up. We work on thinking it and feeling it and believing it. And we do vision boards and we do mantras and affirmations, and we don't get the $1 million. I mean, some people do and some people don't. So that's inconsistent, right? And then there are times where you want something and you work on manifesting it and you get it. And other things you work on wanting and manifesting and you don't get it. So there's inconsistency within the individual as well. So like, what gives? What's the problem with the law of attraction? And many people have come up with reasons and written books and all of that. Neville Goddard wrote all about feeling is the secret, and the notion is to feel it real. And I am totally in alignment with Neville Goddard. There have been others who have done all kinds of rituals and processes that help us to manifest. But here's the thing, okay? Here's the kicker, here's the trick, here's the kink in the works. Interesting, I said that word. We'll get to that later. The reason why we have inconsistent results with manifestation is because we're not in alignment. So the conscious mind, right? The thing that we walk around with all the time that tells us who we are and what we do and what we want, that part that we're aware of, think of it as the tip of the iceberg, okay? And it's at the tip, and it's where the ego is. It's what we think is our identity, all right? And it's important, it matters. I am not eschewing this. I am not denouncing or denigrating this. It's important, I embrace it. I love my mind, all right? But the conscious mind orchestrates only 10, and this is approximate, 10% of what we manifest in our lives. What's really happening is that we are manifesting from the subconscious. And I'm pointing here only because the gut, the heart, the soul, you know, the deeper, darker things, it's hidden. It's not literally located right here any more than the entire conscious mind is only here. We're holistic beings, okay? But the subconscious mind or the unconscious mind, I'm going to use those terms interchangeably, even though I know from a psychological perspective, they each have their own nuance. But just for the purposes of this, let's keep it simple and play with those two together. So if I say subconscious or unconscious, you know I mean the same thing. I mean the hidden part, okay? The subconscious mind actually manifests about 80% of what we experience. It has the power. It operates from the dark. So what Jung once said is, it's one of my favorite all-time shadow quotes. Let me see if I can get it right without botching the paraphrase. Until you make the unconscious conscious, until you bring that which is in the dark to the light, it will rule you and you will call it fate. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule you and you will call it fate. And not just you, me, everybody. It's a human thing. So think about that for a minute. We work so hard. We spin our wheels, we grit our teeth, we feel our feelings, we think our thoughts, we make our vision boards, we do all of our mantras and our endless affirmations to manifest what we think we want with our conscious mind. But our subconscious mind, it might want something different. Unnerving, right? There's a war going on here. Constantly. We're at odds. We're not in alignment. And there are many different tools and modalities that can help bring alignment between the conscious and the unconscious mind. hypnotherapy, theophostic, EFT, working with meridian points. Byron Katie's The Work, although that doesn't go as deep. It's a great tool. It just doesn't go down to the shadow realm. But I've been coming across some information that's, well, it's new to me consciously, but it seems to be what my subconscious knew all the time, which is that our subconscious minds often take this really weird, freaky, perverse pleasure in the things that we think we don't consciously want. Yeah, that's some insidious stuff right there. But it's liberating if we can grasp this, if we can grok it, if we can work it to our favor by coming in alignment. So many of the traditional, typical therapeutic approaches from a psychological aspect to deal with uncovering the unconscious is to go to war with it, to not like it, to resist it. And you know what I'm going to say next? Whatever we resist persists. So what if we were able to get in touch with that stuff, that deep, dark, edgy, perverse, shame-laden stuff that we cringe from, that we shove down, that we don't want to look at, we don't even want to own it, we don't want to have anything to do with it. What if we let ourselves face it, embrace it, dance with it, and wallow, I mean revel, I mean roll in the perverse pleasure of it? What if? Stay with me, okay? You're probably like me. The first time I heard this, I'm like, no, that stuff is conditioned stuff. That is trauma stuff. I don't want it. But the thing is, you already have it. It's already in there. So stay with me. Stay with me. I'm going to borrow from the realm of, let's just call it what it is, BDSM, okay? We've all heard, seen, perhaps had various interactions with that which is considered BDSM. So trying to remember, sometimes the acronym means different things to different people, but bondage, sado, masochism, no, BDS, dominant, submission, masochism. It's basically, it's taking things that would normally be unpleasant, even painful, strong sensations that border on or cross over into pain. And in the container of a sacred consensual moment between, in my case, two people who agree to trust and honor each other within that container, they explore the boundaries of that and actually turn that into pleasure, because there is a surrendering over to that. There's a ceasing of resisting. And of course, it must be consensual. It must be honoring. There must be trust. There must be the safe container, all of that, okay? I am not making this an advocation for the practice of BDSM per se. I'm saying that realm exists, and it is a real thing that real, normal, healthy humans are able to experience something that has a strong sensation that the conscious mind might say, no, 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 pain, 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 avoid. But in surrendering to it consensually, they experience it in their bodies as pleasure. So what if there's a way to take the existential angst, the emotional agonies, the things we don't like to feel and experience, and choose consensually within ourselves, giving ourselves permission to surrender to that strong sensation, because, you know, emotion shows up in the body as sensation, somatic feeling in the body. What if we said to ourselves, okay, I am willing to feel that thing that I knee-jerkedly resist, but I don't want it to persist. So what if I let myself willingly feel that thing, and not just feel it, but actually find hidden within there the odd, weird, a little bit shame-filled, freaky, perverse pleasure in that very strong sensation that I tend to say no to. What if I said instead yes to it? And the theory is, and the practice is, and the experience is that when we do so, we actually not only experience that as pleasure, we remove the shame, we remove the blame, we remove the power of that thing to have its way with us from the inside, in the shadows, in the dark, in the unaware area. In other words, we take the unconscious into the conscious so that it no longer rules us from inside, and we no longer call it fate. We actually become aligned with our conscious and our subconscious minds, and we are able and capable and liberated to make the choices that we both then consciously and subconsciously want. Then those affirmations work. Then all of the vision boards and the feeling it real and the mantras and all of the tools that previously weren't working work, because we're no longer at war with ourselves. So this is all about calming down the war within, coming into alignment with yourself. And this isn't somebody else's superimposed truth upon you. This is your own thing. This is it. And I know some of you may be saying things like, oh, but there's some like really dark stuff in there that nobody should see and nobody should do. Not me. I can't do or see or even admit or own those things. I'm ashamed of those things. Well, here's the deal. Those things are working themselves out through you anyway, and you're exhausting yourself with the repression of not owning them. And when you integrate them, when you own them, when you befriend them, they no longer have authority over you. They no longer have power over you, and you have the conscious choice for how to express that. So if it's something that is irresponsible, harmful, dark, something you really don't want to embody or experience within yourself or expressed in some form, you don't have to. You just don't have to. But you're able to find the pleasure of accepting every single bit of you, one little step at a time, one feeling at a time. So may as well tell you where this came from. And I'm a little, I'm a little irritated, a little pissed off that I did not come up with this myself, because I've experienced all of these things. I was trained in shamanism, and the shadow realm was my specialty. It was where I was most drawn. I was trained in hypnotherapy. I was trained in mediation. I've done improv theater. Goodness, I've explored my spirituality and my sexuality, and all of this just kind of fits with what I've already known, but it all kind of went boing, it came together recently when I rediscovered a book that I was discovering in February. You remember before the world blew up? Yeah. So it was Valentine's Day that I heard about this book called, ready? Existential Kink. Existential Kink. Now, again, it's borrowing the word kink from the realm of BDSM, that giving over to strong sensation and pain and finding the pleasure within it, within that container. It's taking that same surrender aspect to the emotional realm, to our shadow realm, and letting us say yes to what's already going on within us anyway, but doing it on a conscious, volitional, consensual, intentional way. Okay? So I do highly recommend the book. I resisted it at first. I really did. I didn't want to go there. But it came back into my awareness somewhat recently, and then I discovered, oh yeah, I already got the free downloaded 3 copies of this book by Carolyn Elliott, Existential Kink by Carolyn Elliott. So I listened to the audiobook. I spent better part of 2 days listening to it. And then I ordered the hard copy because I like to desecrate books. I underline and I highlight and I dog ear and I write in the margins. I desecrate books. This is why they took away my library card once upon a time. Yeah. So I buy my own books and then I consensually desecrate them. So I'm looking forward to that coming. But I've been putting this into practice. There are so many different tools within this practice that are there. It's radical shadow work. It's not for the faint, F-A-I-N-T, nor the faint, F-E-I-N-T. So neither those who are afraid to go where you've not gone before, or faint meaning self-deceptive. This is about becoming radically honest with yourself and all aspects of yourself, and accepting and owning and befriending and even finding really weird pleasure in the things that have previously made you feel ashamed. Yeah. It's a wild ride. And just 3 days in, I'm already noticing differences. I mean, little things like, okay, I live in Oregon and it rains a lot and it's dark. Yeah, here I'm talking about the shadow realm. I'm wearing dark clothing. It's dark outside. There are like 50 shades of gray outside. That's the state I live in. It's that time of year. And I run daily, and I do that outdoors, unless it's icy, and then I dance indoors. But the last couple of days, the rain has been coming down. I'm talking diagonal, so strong winds and cold and dark and rain. And I've gone out in it, and usually I grumble my whole way through and I resist the process. But the last couple of days, keeping this whole perspective in mind, when I've gone out to run, I have let myself wallow in the unpleasantness of the rain and the wet socks and the soggy shoes and the drips going down my back and the rain getting in my face and just the whole yuck of it. I have let myself go into the, yeah, this is disgusting and I love it, like that. It's kind of cool. You get to be all grandiose and wallow in the stuff that you previously thought was yucky, forbidden, resistant. And something happens. It's pretty cool when we really, really surrender to our own reality. So, like I said, it's not for everybody. It may not be your cup of tea, may not be your thing. But if this intrigues you at all, if you sense there's anything in you, if you're having a I don't know, a gut reaction here, or I would dare say, even if you are strongly resisting it, that's your ego saying, oh, no, 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 no. We do not want to let the shadow out. We must keep it in the dungeon, in its cage. I'm inviting you to let your shadow out, to let it become part of you, so it stops ruling your life and ruining your life from the inside out, from the darkness, from the recesses of your psyche, that you get to know it, that you dare to take the unconscious and make it conscious and own it and integrate it so that it no longer rules your life. I'm inviting you to explore your own liberation in a whole new way. So check it out if you want. You can find it anywhere. Existential Kink by Carolyn Elliott. I highly endorse it. I'm very much enjoying it. And if you do check it out, come back and tell me something in the comments about what you're experiencing with it, because it's pretty revolutionary. Okay, I'll stop talking. I could go on forever, but I have some shadow work to do. See ya.